So it may surprise you to learn this, but up to 70% of the problems that people experience with their GoPros can typically be traced back to this little guy right here. And of course, what I'm talking about here is your MicroSD card. Having the correct MicroSD card is essential for your GoPro to function properly. Your MicroSD card has to be able to keep up with your GoPro, including those write speeds at very high frame rates and resolutions. In today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly everything you need to know in order to ensure you have the proper MicroSD card for your GoPro. And secondly, I'm going to show you how to format your MicroSD card in your GoPro. Not only is having the proper card important, but it's also important that you know how to format your MicroSD card and when to format it. Knowing both of these is going to help ensure you have the best possible experience with your GoPro. And if you do find this video helpful as we go along, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the minimum requirements that your MicroSD card must have in order to function properly with your GoPro. If you own the GoPro Hero 10, like this right here, you need to have a MicroSD card that has either a V30 or a USH3 rating on it. Now, if you don't know what your card has, there's a simple way to check. You obviously can check your receipt wherever you bought the card from, or you can look on your card. If you look closely on your card, you're going to first of all see a V letter with a number after it. In my case, this card is a V30 card. And you're also going to see a U symbol with a number in the middle. In this case, my MicroSD card is a UHS3 card, so it's got a U with a 3 in the middle. The MicroSD card that you use with your Hero 10 has to meet or exceed those minimum requirements in order for it to function properly in all resolutions and frame rates. Now, if you own a Hero 5 Black all the way up to a Hero 9 Black, including the Max, your card doesn't have to have quite as high of minimum specs, but it does still have to be a pretty good card. For those cameras, the card needs to be at least a Class 10 or a UHS1 rating. However, for the best experience with your Hero 5 Black to Hero 9 Black, I recommend having the minimum specs that are recommended for the Hero 10. You can't go wrong in doing so because if you ever decide to upgrade your GoPro, you'll already have a MicroSD card that meets or exceeds those requirements. And in addition, the MicroSD card for the 10 does not cost a whole lot more than the cards that are recommended for the Hero 5 to 9. So in addition to these minimum requirements, GoPro does have 4 specific models of cards that they recommend. And those are the SanDisk Extreme, the SanDisk Extreme Plus, the SanDisk Extreme Pro, and the Lexar 1066X Silver. For the SanDisk cards, the compatible sizing is 32 gigabytes all the way up to 512 gigabytes. Those particular sizes of cards will work all the way from the Hero 5 Black up to the Hero 10. And for the Lexar Professional 1066X Silver series, compatible MicroSD cards are 64 gigabytes all the way up to 512 gigabytes. And that also applies to the Hero 5 Black all the way up to the Hero 10. If you do own a Hero 4 or older, it is important to note that you cannot use as high capacity of a card in those. The camera will not be able to see it or use that space. For the Hero 4, your card can be up to 128 gigabytes in size and still work with the camera. And I do strongly recommend only choosing one of these 4 MicroSD card models. These are the only 4 that GoPro officially recommends, and it does make a difference. I have tried out some other MicroSD card models just to test and see what happens. And I found that my GoPro would freeze a lot with those, or it wouldn't record all the footage, or it would get corrupted, and then I would lose all of my footage. So I definitely recommend sticking with those 4 models. And I have of course linked to all 4 models in the description below to make it nice and easy for you to click on those and check them out. And in case you're wondering, the MicroSD card that I currently use in my Hero 10 is a SanDisk Extreme 512 gigabyte card. This is not a Plus or a Pro, but even though it's not a Plus or a Pro, it still works great in the Hero 10. Even when I'm shooting in 5.3K at 60 frames per second, or in 4K 120, this card has never given me a problem once. It keeps up, no problems at all. Now for the second part of this video, let's talk about how to format your MicroSD card in your GoPro. And of course, you'll want to make sure any content on your MicroSD card is backed up elsewhere first, because formatting does erase your MicroSD card. So the first situation where you should format your MicroSD card is when your card is brand new and you're putting it into your GoPro for the first time. This will help ensure your GoPro can properly read and write to that card and that it recognizes it. The second situation where you'll want to format your card is if your card is giving you any type of problems. If you've had problems writing to it, any type of error, you'll want to format the card first. If your card is still giving you problems after that, then it could be a problem with your microSD card. So that is something important to keep in mind. And finally, the third situation for formatting your card is doing so on a regular basis. This is something that GoPro recommends in order to prevent any problems, and I recommend personally doing it at least once a month. That's what I routinely do with my microSD card, and I've had very few to no problems when I do it on that interval. The only time I've had some problems with my card is if I'm using it a lot, like day after day, on some type of trip where I'm filming hours and hours each day. In that case, I will typically format my card every couple days or at least once a week. So I'm now going to show you how to format the card in your GoPro. This first set of steps will apply to the Hero 7 all the way up to the Hero 10. So on the Hero 7 to Hero 10, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to swipe down. And on the Hero 9 and 10 in particular, you're going to have to do one extra step, and that's going to be to swipe left. Once you've done that, you're going to tap Preferences here. And you're going to scroll to the bottom. And once you've scrolled to the bottom, you're going to click Reset. And then you're going to click Format SD card right here. And you're going to click Format. It's going to go through the process. It'll take usually a couple seconds, maybe up to 10. And then that dialog is going to disappear. And your card is all formatted and ready to go. Now let's take a look at the steps for formatting your card in your Hero 5 and Hero 6 Black. So the steps are a little bit simpler on these. What you're going to do is you're going to swipe down. You're going to click Preferences. Then you're going to go down here. All the way to the bottom. And you're going to click here where it says Format SD card. And you're going to click Delete. And it's going to give a deleting message. And then when that dialog disappears, you're all set and you're good to go. This completes the format process. I hope you found episode 2 of my GoPro tips and tricks series helpful. If you haven't already checked out episode 1, I've linked to it above. As I go through these episodes, I'm seeking to build upon those foundational concepts that are going to help you to get the most out of your GoPro camera. Until we talk again, happy GoProing.